Welcome to No Longer Conformed. I'm Erik Garthe, and we are studying Serving Jesus, Bible bits from Matthew. In this session, we'll be looking at Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 to 11, abundant living. Let's read that text as we begin. In Matthew chapter 7, beginning with verse 7, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find. Knock, and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened. Or what man is there among you who, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for fish, will give him a serpent? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him? James chapter 5, in the second part of verse 16, states that the effective, fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. And our text reveals three purposes of prayer, three purposes which result in an abundant life for believers. First, pray to discover God's will. Look at the second part of verse 7. Seek and you will find. Be careful. You may find the unexpected. God always answers according to our need. John chapter 3, verse 1 to 12. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. This man came to see Jesus by night and said to him, Rabbi, we know that you're a teacher come from God, for no one can do these signs that you do unless God is with him. Jesus answered and said to him, most assuredly I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Nicodemus said to him, how can a man be born when he's old? Can he enter a second time into his mother's womb and be born? Jesus answered, most assuredly, I say to you, unless one is born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Do not marvel that I say to you, you must be born again. The wind blows where it wishes, and you hear the sound of it, but cannot tell where it comes from or where it goes. So is everyone who is born of the Spirit. Nicodemus answered and said to him, how can these things be? And Jesus answered and said to him, are you the teacher of Israel and do not know these things? Most assuredly, I say to you, we speak what we know and testify what we've seen, and you do not receive our witness. I have told you earthly things and you do not believe. How will you believe if I tell you heavenly things? Listen, Jesus let him know of his need for a new life. God's message is clearly seen in John 3:16, just after this passage. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And so that's the message, but then God's way. In John 14, verse 6, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me, or except through me. So what is your need today? What is God's will? Be prepared for an unexpected answer. Second, so pray to discover God's will. Second, pray to follow God's direction. The third part of verse 7, knock and it will be open to you. God is not keeping his plan a secret. Light is available to us for each step we take. Exodus chapter 14, verses 10 through 15. When the Jews were leaving Egypt, and they were there at the Red Sea, with the Egyptians coming behind them. Verse 10, and when Pharaoh drew near, The children of Israel lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. So they were very afraid, and the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. Then they said to Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you so dealt with us to bring us up out of Egypt? Is this not the word that we told you in Egypt, saying, leave us alone that we may serve the Egyptians? For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. And Moses said to the people, do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. For which he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall see again no more forever. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. And the Lord said to Moses, why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward. God responded with a call to trust him. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Romans 8, verse 24. For we were saved in this hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For why does one still hope for what he sees? Sometimes the door opens wide before you. Sometimes you must try the doorknob. When you find an obstacle in the path, you can be tempted to panic. Instead, just look to God. Look for God to remove the obstacle. Trust his promises. Go forward in faith. So pray to follow God's direction. And then third, pray to receive God's provision. The first part of verse 7. Ask, and it will be given to you. Notice in verses 9 through 11 of this same chapter, Matthew 7, man is evil and can do good. Imagine what God is willing to do. Or what man is there among you, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will he give him a serpent? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who's in heaven give good things to those who ask him? Do you remember the widow seeking justice in Luke chapter 18, verses 1 through 8? Jesus said, it says that Jesus spoke a parable to them, that men always ought to pray and not lose heart, saying, there was in a certain city a judge who did not fear God nor regard man. Now there was a widow in that city, and she came to him saying, get justice for me from my adversary. And he would not for a while. But afterward he said within himself, though I do not fear God nor regard man, yet because this widow troubles me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. Then the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge said. And shall God not avenge his own elect who cry out day and night to him, though he bears along with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, will the Son of Man, when the Son of Man comes, will he really find faith on earth? Keep asking. Keep trusting. Your motive for asking must be right. What are your motives in prayer? James chapter 4, the second part of verse 2 and verse 3. You do not have because you do not ask. You ask and you do not receive because you ask amiss, that you may spend it on your pleasures. You get to know people by spending time with them. Know God and learn his will. Prayer brings you into his presence. Arrangements were made beforehand by Jesus Christ. Believers are welcomed into the throne room of heaven. Every Christian may use this access to God. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16 states it clearly. Let us therefore come boldly to the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. D.L. Moody said this: the world has yet to see what God will do with and for and through and in and by the man or woman who is fully consecrated to him. You think about that, and you have a great day.